Hi, everybody. This is a tarot reading for the month of February 2019 for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I'm going to jump right into it here. Looking over here, we have the card that represents you and your basic way of being, juxtaposed with the cards on either side as I found them in the deck, actually. Anyway, so interesting. Mother of Wands, sort of potentially guarding or coveting the things that you have, sort of being secure in your identity and in your aspirations and your creativity and whatnot. And having, let's see, this is the Nine of Pentacles, very powerful, auspicious card, generally speaking. It is a fusion of the material and the spiritual, which means that with this card, we tend to perceive the interconnectedness of all physically manifested things into the greater whole. And the Eight of Swords, which is this chrysalis or this state of being in kind of suspended animation. And the mother cards are not known for their activity either. So we kind of have an interesting, we have an interesting situation where we 9 to 8 as well. Okay, to be honest, I'm not totally sure how to interpret this just at the moment, so I'll probably come back to it. But on some level, you know, you are guarding the wealth that you have or the experiences that you've had in life that you perceive as empowering or spiritual or what have you, or that make you who you are. But it is reversed, which is potentially showing that it's kind of decaying, right? And that you're headed toward, if you kind of stay in this place of stasis, you're headed toward kind of a place where you'll be sort of, I don't know, grounded into, or not like positively grounded in the sense of like, you'll be in a further state of like suspended animation. You know, you're kind of going towards a state of definitely transition. There's definitely some transition implied in this 8 card, but I think that on some level, I don't know, it's hard to find the words at the moment to describe like what I'm getting at here, but it's almost like you're going to be in a state of like imprisonment, sort of self-imposed imprisonment, if you keep just kind of coveting what you have. So let's see if that relates to the rest of the spread, and maybe we'll get a clearer idea on these cards. They are a little arcane and odd together, not super clear. This is a very colorful spread for you, Sagittarius. One of the more colorful ones I've gotten for doing my readings this month. So past, present, future. In the past, you know, there's beauty, there's success, just like there is with the 9 here, interestingly enough, right? There's pleasure in business, abundant fruits of labors, but on some level there was chaos happening below this, or there was something was unfulfilling. Something was not really functional despite this, perhaps. In the present card for this month, right, what you'll kind of be dealing with throughout the whole month is the reversed sun. We have reversed sun and reversed moon, kind of forming like a dyad or a partnership here. So some goals perhaps are unmet, or some fulfillment is what's the word, delayed. Okay. This is kind of a crisis of self, I think, in many respects. It's kind of a crisis of where do I fit in the universe, in the grander scheme of things. Like, this is everything you knew, right? And the future kind of looks bleak and unknown and strange. So you're holding on for dear life to what you know. But on some level, things are perhaps collapsing a bit, which is fine. You are potentially, with the 2 of Cups and the Empress here, you're potentially questioning what pleasure is, what it means to experience pleasure and fulfillment and whatnot. And the direction you're going in towards the future is the nine, another reversed nine. Interesting. And the sun is also nine in a sense. We also have threes here. So that's interesting. These two threes, and then the six and the nine and the threes. And then, yeah, eights. Sorry, I'm getting a little off topic, but we have the moon is eight, this is eight, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, the point being is that like the future here and how you're approaching it is kind of, yeah, it's kind of a definite crisis in faith or something like that. There's kind of a getting lost in the desire, I think, for perfection. The desire, perhaps even the desire for something like mystical. I don't know. It's this is one of the weirdest spreads I've done this month. I'm not going to lie. So forgive me if I'm fumbling a little with my interpretation, but we do have these two cards which feature moons reversed, right? And so again, this to me points to not really being actually fulfilled in what you're doing and having like a crisis in faith, a crisis that's very emotionally charged, right? Sort of okay, things are nice, things are great, but so what? What do I really want with the two here? What's really going to bring me pleasure? And the three of Pentacles in the advice position, it really stands in stark contrast to many of these other cards here. It's very much a card of stability, of simplicity, of stoicism, of steeling oneself against kind of these sort of collapsing, chaotic emotional tides and whatnot. So the advice here is basically to just go forward simply and fall back onto what is actually very secure in your life, cut back, right? 3, 6 or 6 to 3, right? So cut back on things, right? You don't need to have all the things that you have to be happy. And many of those things aren't bringing you happiness. They're not bringing you clarity either, right? You just have them because you can have them. It's kind of like when you go to a buffet and you think, well, I paid the $10 for the buffet, and so therefore I want to try everything in the buffet. And you try everything in the buffet, and it ends up being too much food. A lot of it clashes. It ruins the meal because you're too full, get indigestion, and a lot of the stuff that you thought was going to be good didn't taste good together. Right. So it just kind of created chaos in your mind and body, and it wasn't that fulfilling of a meal. Right. So this is sort of saying like, it's okay to cut back. Right. And it's okay as well with this card in the future here. It's okay that, you may not be like achieving spiritually what you really thought you were doing. There's a lot of like spiritualized ego stuff in this spread, if you catch my drift. Like with these two reverse nines, there's kind of this idea of like, I'm so spiritual, I'm going to attain this super spiritual thing. And just the other day, I was having a conversation via Messenger with an individual who was telling me about somebody they knew who was doing all kinds of like Kriya and Kundalini and Iron Shirt Qigong or Qigong stuff, I forget. And they had what sounded like a premature Kundalini awakening, and the Kundalini got lodged, it got blocked in like the back of their head or something. And this actually happens more often than people really seem to talk about, these sort of premature Kundalini awakenings. And the guy went mad and eventually killed himself. So, I don't know this guy. I'm not trying to judge him. Okay. But I'm bringing up the example because why, if you have to work hard to achieve something spiritually, that's not spirituality. That's not yoga. That's ego, And again, That may have not been the case with this person. I don't know the whole story, but I'm just saying there are a lot of people out there like that. Like, oh, I've achieved this great spiritual thing, or I'm trying to achieve this great spiritual thing. Well, who are you trying to achieve it for, right? And is there anything really to achieve, right? Just instead of this like grand epic journey of things, why don't you just take a page from the, the most exalted saints and yogis and just do things simply, right? If you're a rabid vegetarian because you think that that somehow is important to your spiritual evolution, which by the way doesn't exist, there is no spiritual evolution. But if you think that, right, well, maybe that's actually causing you a lot of problems and you just need to chill out and just eat meat once in a while, okay? Milarepa ate meat and became enlightened actually soon after he ate meat, after eating nothing but nettles for years. So, it's stuff like that. It's this is extremist kind of attitude. And the nines are definitely about crisis and dissolution and things like that, a change of course and so on. But, the 8 here is like, now that I look at it again, it's like telling you to just to chill out, to focus on like what's really important and to not get like lost in kind of this superfluous sort of stuff that you think is really important. But here in the context of this spread, because these cards will mean different things in different spreads, right? These are actually very spiritually powerful cards, but in this context, they're dysfunctional. It's dysfunctional spirituality. Is taking a step back, right? Being more objective. Be more objective with the Swords card here. Right, be more objective with this Pentacles card here, right? Be more simple, okay, that kind of a thing, On the other hand, this could also just be that you're really isolating yourself by sort of coveting these achievements and ideals, kind of investing yourself too much into them, making too many sacrifices and so on, being an extremist. You're isolating yourself, you're starving yourself and so on, and you're actually you have abundance, but it's really leading you into a desert, so to speak. Now, the final card, the Empress, really, really captures something related to the 2 of Cups of like pleasure and beauty. And like, this card speaks to me more as like a woman, a Sagittarius woman who's having a crisis and stuff, because there's just more female cards and whatnot. But of course it can apply to men too. It's just that at the end of the day, like this is really about, I think, getting in touch with sexuality and with what pleasure really is. And the Empress, the Empress enjoys all aspects of the world, right? The Empress is it's the third card in a sense. It's the play of the Trinity, right? The Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, the creation, preservation, destruction, and that kind of thing. So the Empress is the Divine Mother aspect that's really on some level involved, is relatable, is involved in the creation of the world. It's not necessarily creating the world, but it is involved in that, is the basis of that, right? So this is, to me, saying that a lot of a big theme of this month is about opening yourself up to a more organic enjoyment of sensual worldly pleasures that is not gluttonous, but that is natural. What do I really want, right? Well, obviously what you really want or what you haven't achieved is just some simple satisfaction in the simple everyday pleasures of things, right? You're overly concerned with the complex. This is all very complex. But these 2 cards hint at a simplicity that is also very, in a sense, primitive, but not in a derogatory sense, just more like primal, just more simple, right? Just more interfacing with basic needs and desires and allowing those things to enter into your life freely and organically, and empowering yourself to be like the best person you can be, especially in terms of just enjoying life and just living and just taking risks and just like being in the world. The Empress here is represented by a round tree, which is a fruit bearing tree, whereas the Emperor is represented by a more like one of these trees, the trees that go up towards the sky. In this case, a evergreen, as they're sometimes called, right? So the Emperor in this deck goes up towards the sky, but the Empress is a fruit-bearing tree, right? She's involved in the world. She is, giving things to the world and so on. And so while the moon is, the cosmic mother image, the Empress is not, it's the more relatable mother. It's like in Indian parlance, the moon is like Maheshwari, and the Empress is like Lakshmi or Mahalakshmi. The Empress is this sense of being that enjoys the world, that partakes in the world, that doesn't reject the world, and that welcomes the more basic experiences of life as a part of life, as a stage in the play, or as an act in the play of life, rather than something that suppresses it or repels it. So in a sense, this is just like more like be who you are and just frolic and enjoy things and just be in the world. And I think that's what, in many ways, that's like the essence of feminine energy, at least on the more human in the world level, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a return to simplicity is what this whole thing is getting at, Stop hoarding ideals, stop hoarding achievements and things and trying to make grand gestures, right? Sagittarius shoots very high, aims for the sky, doesn't oftentimes hit it, and that's very noble, but Sagittarius in classical astrology is also associated with a fall from a high place, right? Shooting too high when, in fact, everything you need is just kind of already right there. But you're neglecting it because of your ideals and your philosophical disposition, the quest for some ultimate truth that is out there, right? Sagittarius is, people aren't going to want to hear this, but Sagittarius is sort of in a sense, the weakest of the fire signs, because in Aries and Leo, you have the sun empowered, and the sun is a symbol of the ultimate truth, the ultimate reality. But in Sag, you only have Jupiter really empowered, right? And Jupiter is very important, seeking for that ultimate reality, that ultimate truth, right? But Jupiter can get caught up in the seeking, right? Because Jupiter can get caught up in shooting the bow and arrow, okay, in Sagittarius. But in reality, if you read Zen and the Art of Archery, which everyone should read, but maybe especially Sagittarius and Jupiter-heavy people should read, right? It's not that you fire the bow and hit the target. It's that the bow and arrow fires itself and hits the target, because at that point you're not obstructing anything from happening. You are a conduit. You are allowing the bow and arrow to do their work naturally. You are not the one who aims and hits, so to speak. And it's, we make it complicated, but it's really simple. Everyone's experienced this, right? When you enjoy great food, right? You're not thinking about enjoying it. You're not trying to enjoy it. You're just allowing it to be enjoyed by yourself. And so there's joy in eating it, right? Same with dancing, same with music, same with everything. So it's a return to a more simple, kind of open place where things are not as idealistic and egotistical in a sense. They just are what they are. So I think that does it for you, Sagittarius. Have a great February. Please hit like, share, subscribe. Check me out on Facebook, Patreon, and go to my website if you want a legit reading from me. All right? Otherwise, have a great February.